Alright, Facebook. Never thought that I would be doing this, but I gotta make it quick. For everybody out there that supported me and really knows what's going on, thank you all. I've been going through a custody battle. I've been going through having my ex-wife say I molested my children and all kinds of craziness. Been fighting for custody for 3 years. So, shit has been real crazy. What's up, Oliver? You know about this. Going through it with my ex-wife, blah, blah, blah. So, and start dating somebody new. And she got pregnant. And, we got in a fight. First thing she does, she's threatening that she's going to do the same thing. You're never going to see your kids, blah, blah, blah. It's the holidays, man. I don't have no family, nothing. Anyway, I just did something crazy, man. I just shot my ex-girlfriend in the head, yo. Felt like a dream. Like, I never thought I would be that guy. I can't go to prison, so the person that really started my depression and all of this is my ex-wife. So she next, and then I'm going to do myself too. But I just wanted to say this to people. Don't play with people's emotions, man. Don't lie on these men. Oh, here's my ex-wife right here. Today's the day.
That was a crazy clip, right? Everything Suspect Podcast. Welcome back. It's your boy Billy D. You know how we do this. This one is a hard one for me because I can relate to Rajaee a lot. I went through some of the same things that it sounds like he was going through. So the way I found out about this story, my brother had hit me up and said, "Hey man, there's this, you see this story about this guy in Baltimore? He killed his girlfriend, killed his ex-wife, and then killed himself." I'm like, "Nah, man, we were on text message." And it freaked me out so bad that I had to call him. And we had to have a conversation. So we didn't know anything about the story. All we knew was like, dude, I don't even know if we knew he was black, thinking about it. But it's weird because without knowing any details, I was able to tell him why this guy snapped. Just because I've gone through baby mama drama and kids and fighting for them and everything else. So I told him it was one of two things. I'm like, one, whatever happened, the girlfriend started this chain of reactions, right? And we gonna say RIP to the victims. I'm not putting any whatever. So before we dive into this, there are victims. I feel sorry for them. Rajaee should not have done what he did. He is a murderer. Okay, so like we got all that stuff out the way. Let's get into this story. I said the girlfriend started this chain of events that led to everybody dying by either, I said he either told her he didn't want any more kids, and maybe she was like, all right, cool, I don't want kids either, but on the low, wasn't taking birth control or whatever, and like set them up. I'm like, or the only other thing that could have happened is the girlfriend threatened to do the same thing his ex-wife was doing to him. Yesterday, my homeboy hits me up, and I probably can pull up the text message. And he's like, yo, you was 100% right. The girlfriend said that she was going to do to him what his ex-wife had done to him, and that just sent my man down a bad path. So let's talk about fault and let's talk about decisions. And this one is more for my brothers out there that's in the struggle, the fathers out there. This is more geared towards them. I'm open to the woman perspective, but this is for my fellas, especially those that are in the struggle right now, because this is a real thing, and what Rajaee was going through is not foreign to him. Many men go through it, especially those who fight to be in their children's lives. So First, let's talk about fault. A huge percentage of the fault on the court system. This guy had been going in and out of court. Like, first of all, it should never take 3 years for a custody case. 3 years of a kid's life is now gone because the courts was holding up what should have been done with this family. That's draining to especially to the man, because if he's in court for custody, it's because he took her to court for custody. Okay? I've gone through this. I've fought for my kids. I went through a custody battle, and even going into the battle, it was so devastating to me because I knew I wasn't going to win. I knew that I was not going to be able to convince the courts to take my kids from their mother and give them to me. But that was the only option that I had to, being that I couldn't get them the way I was supposed to be getting them to begin with. So I had to go to court for custody just so the judge could give me, you can have every other weekend. And that's what men face when it comes to child support, when it comes to custody, when it comes to fighting for your kids. And it's like there's no winning for the man in court for the most part. 90% of the time, there's no wins for them. I can go on and on about me, but we're going to stay on topic. For Rajaee, first of all, let's also get out there. This is not he wasn't no thugged out black dude. He wasn't a criminal. He wasn't a gang member. He wasn't any of that. This dude was making $200,000 a year as a registered nurse or anesthesiologist or something like that. Like, good job, smart brother. Okay, so this ain't that hood stuff. You see black dude, you see murder, you see Baltimore, and your mind just goes to a certain place. And what I'm telling you is that's not this dude. That's not this dude. This is a dude who loved his kids, who was fighting to be in this kid's life and was not being helped and was not being met halfway by the person who he had kids with. So the courts are number one in blame, because had they did something prior to this, had they sped up the court system, had they made a decision, had they did anything, and I know that he had other, it said that the wife had said that he would have molested the daughter. He says that in the clip, and I believe the court documents say that it was unsubstantiated. As a matter of fact, he had the kids when he went to her house. They said they found the kids in his car, and he and his ex-wife were in the house dead when the police showed up. This is a man who wanted to be in his kid's life, and the mother wouldn't allow him, and the courts did not take this case seriously. Now, I know that we're talking, and I know some people can say, well, he had the kids when he went over there, so what do you even mean? Like, he can't say that he never gets his kids and they were in the car. He obviously had them. Yeah, another story for another day. But at the same time, why did he snap? Why did he snap? It wasn't for nothing. Now, on to the wife. That's a court system situation too. Women, we have to find a way, black men and black women, when we have kids, we have to learn how to play fair. We have to define what parity is. And when women hold kids away from their father, that's a form of abuse. I know what it is to raise a kid visiting every 2 weeks, and now I know what it is to raise a kid in the household. And what I'm telling you is, as a man who's lived on both sides of the tracks, it is paramount. It is paramount for the parents to work together to get the best out of this kid. This kid is always missing something if he doesn't have the other parent, and they grow up and they're not the full person they could be if you're keeping the kid away from. Now look, and there's dirtbags out there, right? There's guys who are better off not in their kid's life, right? But we're talking about guys like Rajaee, who wants to be in this kid's life. Because like with us, it's like, oh, well, he's trash, or why aren't you fighting for your kids? Or if he really wanted to see his kids, he would do something about it. So here's a guy who was doing something about it and was still getting the same results that he would if he was a dirtbag, right? And it even goes back to the podcast I did on PJ Washington and Brittany Renner, and just how the system needs an overhaul. The court system needs an overhaul. It needs to have a cap on child support. And I also believe that it should be a situation where kids should get 9 years with one and 9 years with the other, if you have a situation where both parents have the ability and they want to do that. And this seems like this was a situation where the man wanted his kids as much as he possibly could have them. This is the kind of situation that would apply to my idea about kids getting, so everybody has the ability and everybody knows what it is to be in the other person's shoes, right? You know what it is to pay child support because you had to pay it for 9 years. You know what it is to respect somebody's time when they want their kids. You know what it is to meet them halfway. You know what it is to not be late for pickups, to not be late for drop-offs. You know what it is to do everything because we both had to live that life to make sure that this kid had both parents in their life. That's what the court system needs to do. If the court system could do that, it would keep women in check. Sorry, but in situations like this, it would keep a woman in check. She would have to answer to something, but it also would allow her to understand what it is to be him. This is one of those situations where the court needs that overhaul for situations like this. So I hold the court accountable for his death and as well as hers. Now, the girlfriend. Rajaee messed up on this one. And this is something for the fellas out there, especially my young brothers out there that's having babies or whatever. We must learn from our mistakes as men and the women that we choose if we chose the wrong one the first time. We also have to be very, very aware of who we're sharing our pain with. I can't even prove it, but I know that Rajaee saw some of the same qualities in his girlfriend that he saw in his wife, and not the good qualities. And I say that to other men. When, first of all, if your woman don't make you happy, you don't need to be with her. That's number one. 2, when you break up with a woman and you get with another one, it is important that, because like, you know, we're all flawed human beings, right? And sometimes what we want ain't the thing that we need. As men, we have to start understanding what we need versus what we want, especially when you're choosing your woman. You're going to give up a lot of things that you want to get the woman that you need. You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you a story. I was some years ago, many years ago at this point, I met this young lady, and I liked her, was very, very attracted to her. And my kids were younger, of course, you know, but I still had them. And I was going through my baby mama drama stuff, right? And so she came over one night, and she was a little frustrated. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And so she started complaining about her baby daddy, right? And she made it a point to talk about how, well, what she was upset about was the fact that he wanted her to meet him halfway with their son. And she got mad because she felt like I shouldn't have to take time to meet him halfway. If he wants his kid, he can come over here and get him. That was the end of that relationship for me, right? Why? Because in that moment, I saw my baby mother, a woman who I had broken up with, a woman who I didn't like some of the things that she did. I didn't like the way that she made me feel. So what I'm saying is we have the responsibility, because I still believe that we pick women. Women choose us, right? So we have to be smarter at picking, right? So when you break up with a woman, or you see a woman that has a quality that you don't care for, imagine what that quality is going to be later on when it's worse, because it doesn't change. So Rajaee made the mistake of hooking up with a woman who had some of the same qualities as his wife, right? And so when a brother's going through something like what Rajae's going through, Rajaee needed trust. And not the trust that comes with cheating or anything of that nature. He needed the trust of, I can confide in you. That man was depressed. And so for anybody to know your weaknesses and then use them against you, that's not a person that's for you. He chose poorly, or he picked poorly. The last thing you want to do is come between a man and his kids. And that's a rough one for me. I've had violent thoughts. I've had depressing thoughts. I've had, let's just end it all thoughts when it came to me being ripped away from my kids. It's a very hard look. So I say all that to say this, man. Be smart when you're choosing the people that you procreate with. Be smart when you choose the people that you date. When you see signs, run. Don't be afraid to say no. And protect your feelings. And fellas out there, man, call your homies. Check on them. Allow your friends to talk to you. Allow your friends to vent to you. Sometimes you just need to shut up and let them niggas go. You know what I'm saying? And by let them go, I mean let them talk. Not let them go as in we ain't cool no more. Sometimes you gotta let your homies talk, man. You'll be surprised. You will be surprised at what gets out of you if you continue to talk. What I've learned this year is and this is between men and women, right? If you continue to have a conversation, specifically with men, right? Specifically with men, I've always been a person like, I'm gonna give you my answer and I'm done. But if that answer is not good enough for the person that is asking the question, you should continue to have the conversation. I've always been a person like, say my piece, keep it moving. I already had this conversation. I know where I'm at. Look, and I say that because you know what? The answer that you gave, it wasn't good enough for that person. The conversation still needs to be ironed out. And you'll be surprised at how much your answer that you gave wasn't the answer that was needed to begin with. It was a deeper question. It was a better answer there. It was something else that could have been pulled out of those conversations. So always, men and women, always have that conversation. When something keeps on coming up, continue to have the conversation. Don't argue. Have the conversation. Talk it all the way through until both of you are satisfied with the other's answer. If Rajaee was more smarter at the women that he chose, and I feel like I'm starting to bash Rajaee just because I know what he was going through. And we all wish that we could make better decisions in the moment, and he's not around to make any more decisions. And like I'm almost upset at him. Like I know him because he seemed, under different circumstances, he seems like he's a good dude. Any dude that's going to fight for his kids and be in court for 3 years, that's a good dude. or was a good, or had a good heart, so to speak. So I just feel bad for these situations, man. So the court system needs to be revamped, especially when it comes to family court. Keeping a man and a woman in the family court is like keeping the kids in jail. The longer you keep them in court, the longer that the kid is in jail, the longer the kid is in limbo. And I believe if the court system looked at it like that, they would do a better job at handling these cases in a timely fashion. But nevertheless, like, subscribe, hit the bell. It's your boy. I will see y'all next time. I appreciate you. Peace.